Hey everybody, it's Rob from Flailthroughs. This is Gundam Battle Operation 2, and this is another episode of Buffs We'd Like to See. We are doing a couple of the Peasant project mobile suits this week, starting with the Peasant Dwadge, or Dowage, depending on what translation, what day of the week. But it's an interesting one because, yeah, it is a Dom type. It has, oddly enough, the worst thruster stat of any of the Dom types at 400 at 55. The only things with less thruster gauge are the Dom cannons, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But yeah, it also has a beam bazooka, which has a lot of the problems of some of the other beam bazookas, which are really not good heat gauge. Has the spot gun version of the chest beam, and in terms of ranged weapons, that is it. It can also take for its main weapon the Rikdom 2 giant bazooka or the Akzaku machine gun, but yeah, it's kind of limited in its equipment in the way that the early GBO2 suits were. And just, yeah, stat-wise, it has kind of fallen behind, too. Salty, what do you think?
So, it's kind of weird how they designed the Peasant suits. The only one that actually has space affinity out of the entire bunch is the Dwadge, which is odd because they're all space units, and the only one that has the space affinity is the Dwadge. So as this thing levels, it really doesn't get any perks with the exception of one extra level in forced injectors. So at 500 or 600, which is the one I have, it only has level 2 forced injectors, and it gets level 1 leg buffers, and that's it as it levels. That's the only change. That is terrible. So I would like to see a change in that. It needs, I would say, ranged pursuit assist, or whatever the one you knock somebody down and you can pump damage into them with your ranged weapon. I would make the Akzaku machine gun as a sub weapon for this suit, just so it can have a secondary weapon. Rob said a really cool idea is to make the beam gun function as both the beam gun and a flash. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's a really neat idea. Shipper brought up a really cool idea for the beam bazooka, and he said when you're scoped in, it should be able to fire in rapid fire shots, and I like that. With weapons that should have that skill, I feel like they should also have a perk on them, such as like the Akzaku bazooka or Act Hyzak bazooka, where that bazooka gets 100 meters extra range, and you see things scoped in through walls and stuff. You get that weird recon perk. The beam bazooka should get damage control to help you allow you, because the beam bazooka, I think Rob said, only has 350 meters.
Yeah.
Which is bad. It's a giant bazooka. I think most bazookas are 400 meters, if I'm not mistaken.
I do not remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, so I would like to see that changed. What do you think, Rob?
I think, yeah, I really do like all with Shipper's idea of doing the rapid sniping skill. But yeah, this is where I'm standing right now. I can just at this point hit the far wall. That's 350 meters. It's not terrible, but I really feel like it does not justify having a scope with 5x magnification. That does not make any sense to me. So,
an 85% heat rate.
yeah, the heat rate on this especially just very much needs fixed, like a lot of the beam bazookas do. Just because, yeah, it has 5-second cooldown between shots, and then you have to give it another 2 or 3 seconds to make sure you don't overheat the thing. Like I feel like that should be an either or thing. You can either it can either fire fast enough that overheating it is a danger, or it fires slow enough that you probably never need to worry about it. Having both is just incredibly limiting, especially on a thing that only has 3 weapons.
Another idea I had was to maybe give it a secondary melee option. The thing is about this suit is as it levels, I mean, at 600, my melee damage is only 5 points off my ranged. I was thinking about giving it like unarmed combat because it does have access to the spikes on its arms, and you could easily give this the same animation as the Dozozaku, and I would give it the downward kick the gun cannon has, because it would be really, really silly to see a suit like a Dom kicking. But either or, I mean, a downward swing like the Dozo would be still pretty meaty on the suit, I think. But it's like, as I've said, no suit in this game should be stuck with just your main ranged weapon, a secondary, and then your melee. Unless those 3 options are insanely strong, there's no reason any suit should be down just to have 3 weapons at any given time.
Yeah, they really have gotten away from the idea that of suits that can be just completely down to their melee for an extended period. That was a lot more common earlier in, and it was still very frustrating then. But
I mean, look at the change they did for the White Dingo, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
The buff that thing was so good it still holds in nowadays, even though it just has, the main weapon, head Vulcans and grenades, and the saber. It doesn't matter because the head Vulcans stun really easy. The grenades are really decent, and it's already a melee centric general.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really solid suit at any cost you can play it. But there's really nothing going on with the Peasant Dowage that makes you want to use it.
Yeah.
Because it's just not a good suit.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking about is an alternative to the secondary melee. Most DOMs have enhanced tackle, right?
Yeah, this one doesn't.
It does. It does have enhanced tackle level 1.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like with the addition of the spikes, that justifies at least another level of enhanced tackle.
At level 1, and then as it levels, I would give it like at 600, it should have level 5 or 6.
Yeah,
strong tackle.
This again, if they were going to leave it with this limited tool set, would not be a bad candidate for double tackle either,
or interrupt tackle.
Yeah.
What a unit! What an absolute unit this thing is.
Oh yeah, it's a great design. So a quick addendum. There is in the MSX design notes another weapon for the Peasant Dwadge that has not appeared in GBO 2 yet. This is the 8-tube 420 millimeter rocket launcher. As you can see, it basically is designed to brace against the chest to fire. So yeah, Salty was thinking that giving it damage control of some form for when that is equipped would be a useful thing. I mean, obviously a weapon like that would be stop to fire, so a mobile fire system would probably be a good choice as well. But yeah, just we forgot to mention it during the recording, but just that's a really neat design. I would love to see that added. I get the sense it might end up being like a special support version of the Peasant Dowadge that had that, though. So either way, as long as we get it at some point, that'd be great. All right, and our second peasant suit for this week is the Gigan, which, yeah, it starts at 200. It is a tank type. It is very small. It was, at the time it was released, one of the smallest things in the game. And for what it is fairly fast. It has a movement speed of 140, which for a 200 support is pretty decent. At the higher costs, it definitely drops off in terms of, that being a useful and unique thing, and it has basically no boost. It's not that the boost, it only gets 20 extra speed when boosting, so that's not a huge deal anyway. But yeah, it's not a bad suit, but yeah, it is definitely kind of not up to the current standards of the game, and could use some buffs. And we've been trying to figure out what those should be, and that one's been tricky. What do you think, Salty?
So the Gigan, if I'm remembering correctly, was even smaller in GBO1.
I think it was.
Like, I think in GBO1, the Gigan only came up to like the gun tank MPT's like midsection of his chest. Like, it was insanely small in GBO1. It made it incredibly hard to hit. So the problem with the suit is that as it levels, it gets no new perks and no levels to the existing perks that it has whatsoever. So at level 1, you have the same perks at level 5 that I have at 400. And for whatever reason, this suit, none of its weapons gain any additional range as it levels up like any other weapon in this game. And what was the rate you're supposed to gain ammo in your gun? What was the percentage?
I think it is generally 5%, and yeah, we were looking at it. The Gigan gets 1 extra round of ammo per level, so it has 60 rounds in the Gatling at level 1, and at level 5 it has 64.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot the rate of fire on that. Boy, that
it's actually really slow.
Yeah, incredibly slow.
So the problem is, it's also got it's armed with a recoilless cannon, but for whatever reason, you're forced to stop the fire to shoot it, which makes absolutely no sense. I feel like a good change would to just let the Gigan move and fire the cannon. I would definitely up the speed a little bit more. Maybe pump it up to like what was it, like 120, 125 the speed on this thing? What was it?
140.
Oh wow, okay, maybe not. Well, no, my initial idea was to, after it's been rolling around for a little bit, it should gain even more speed. Get like what's the like how some suits, when they boost, they enter this special mode while boosting.
Yeah.
They get faster and better cruise control and all that. The Gigan should get the same. It's because it'd be funny, it'd be silly, and it would fit its profile. And then in that mode, I feel like the Gigan should be, should have access to the minigun.
Yeah. Maybe make the recoilless rifle like fireable while moving, like when it's in that cruising mode specifically.
Yeah, I would make it burst fire in that mode.
That could be interesting.
Kind of like how the GF tank, or whatever the new gun tank suit was.
Oh yeah, the R44.
Gets while it's transformed. Yeah, the R44 gun tank. But like, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
For the minigun, there's 2 ways I could see them fixing it. Either increase the damage it does for its very slow rate of fire. I'm gonna let him empty his mag, or I'm gonna shoot him to see how many shots it takes to stun. Apparently a lot. I'm gonna kill you before you... No. I don't want to shoot you anymore. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, at level 1, the one thing the Gigan does get at higher levels is hit points. I believe you said it has 14,000 at that level. At 200, it has 7,000. It was, 14,000 isn't... Okay. Yeah, 14,000 is not great at that level.
So how much was that you shot me with?
About 30, I think, is when the stun kicked in.
Yeah, so that needs to be either... It needs to do way more damage, and the stun value needs to be almost doubled. Or they could increase the range even further to match the cannon, because I think the minigun's only the range on the minigun's like 350 meters, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
And then just keep the damage the same, but increase the range.
Yeah.
Just like dramatically increase the range. And then it also has head Vulcans and a coaxial machine gun. The problem is I can't find the caliber of the head Vulcans and the coaxial machine gun. Wow, that stunned really quick.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, the
Wow.
Vulcan fires a lot faster, stuns faster, and you can use it while boosting.
Wow, okay. Good to know. So, I can't find any information on the Vulcans. I don't know what caliber they're in. I don't know if the coaxial machine gun is a better caliber. So, I'm really not able to find any information on it. Rob made the idea of giving it the same skill, the overfeed skill that the EZ8 has, which would work for the head Vulcans. Now that we know that the head Vulcans stun insanely quickly, I would just add more ammo to it and make it fire faster.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like 200 and 250 exist, and there's plenty stronger supports and generals from 300 to 400 anyway. So it's not like increasing those for this one really weak and squishy suit would really do much.
Yeah.
Because this thing doesn't really have much defense. It's really, really squishy.
Yeah. It is, again, it is very fragile, especially at 200. The other two things that we were talking about, one thing is, yeah, it has because it moves around on those wheels, it has a very high movement speed, but the turn speed, which uses those self-same wheels, only 51. That needs to be much faster that to make any sense at all. The other thing we were talking about is, speed of not being able to find any information that looks for all the world like it has a radome on its right shoulder, which, would realistically give it access to some kind of ping. But there is no data whatsoever as to whether or not that is actually what it is, or if that's just supposed to be a little shoulder shield. I could definitely see the argument for it being a shoulder shield, because when this was originally designed back in like 1981, I want to say, there were probably, I don't think there were any EWAC mobile suits at that point. But regardless, yeah, just like the Gigan could use some tweaks, and it's, a lot of its like official capabilities are kind of a mystery since it was basically canceled twice. Once as part of the longer 52 episode plan for First Gundam, where it was going to be the thing that destroyed the Gundam originally. And also the MSX manga was canceled in favor of working on Zeta Gundam. So, yeah, the Gigan is a mystery on certain levels. But at any rate, as always, let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to see changed, adjusted. Let us know what suits you'd like us to cover in the future. And that is going to do it for this week's Gundam Battle Operation 2. We'll be back soon with more. Till next time, everybody take care and have fun. Later.